Welcome to Growth Happens in the Dirt. I'm Katie Jolly, a doctor of men, elite brain health trainer, and naturopath. And this is my story of brain injury and a pathway to heal, which will hopefully help you and your loved ones. I wrote the book for survivors and their families, and then realised I couldn't actually read or tolerate screens for several months after my concussion. So if this is where you are, this is for you. Each week, I will read a few pages of the book, now available globally on Amazon, which, along with my story, contains clinically proven tools and methods to heal. Growth happens in the dirt. Chapter 2. The accident. The tiny seed knew that in order to grow, it needed to be dropped in the dirt, covered in darkness, and struggle to reach the light. Sandra Kring. A treasure hunt. It was COVID lockdown 2020. Our tourism business had been reduced from a staff of 35 to 8 employees, including my husband and myself. Within 3 days, 95% of our projected income was decimated as around the world borders closed with a violent bang. We were stuck at home, frantically trying to juggle saving our business with schooling our children, a girl aged 3 and our son aged 7. And our marriage was beginning to fragment like winter leaves hold by frost. Rotating duties like chicken in a supermarket oven, the husband and I would fight over whose turn it was to work on the business. At night, we would watch the news as the world froze in fear. And it was a fear that settled into our bones as the children had nightmares about the virus. Stress was climbing into every part of our lives. My elderly parents were enclosed in their bubble, and we only had our family unit of 4 to rely on to create any resemblance of normality. Well, slowly, as the weeks passed, silence grew as my husband and I drowned in the fear of what would become of the business, which was sliding through our fingers like dry sand. My only solace was daily exercise with the kids. It was an opportunity to get outside in nature and feel a sense of freedom from the cage of COVID. "Mum, can we do a treasure hunt tomorrow?" my 7-year-old begged. I looked at his pleading face as his little 3-year-old sister jumped on board with the idea. "Yeah, Mama, a nature treasure hunt." I softened. "Of course. Shall we draw up the map tonight before bedtime?" And they both squealed with joy. It was always part of my game plan to wear them out as much as possible so that I could work on the computer in the afternoon. It seemed perfect timing to have a picnic filled with at least an hour of bush running. We sat in the lounge as they drew up the treasure hunt for the next day. Filled with local nature items, we planned an exciting expedition. Blackbird, fern, mushrooms. Oh, that's a good one, Mum, eh? As my son wrote the list on paper. "Yep, that's great," I smiled, seeing their eyes light up with the thought of a treasure hunt in the bush. "Is Dad coming, Mama?" my little girl asked. "No, babes, he's going to work." She lowered her blue eyes and then brightened. "Can Brucey come?" Brucey was the resident ADHD Chesapeake dog. Of course. She smiled and gently slipped her thumb into her mouth, running her fingers along her fricky, a satin hanky that was her comforter. "I'll pack the picnic for tomorrow and we can spend the day in the bush," I said. "Come on then, you two, into bed." As I tucked each of them in, my eyes filled with tears, their little arms around my neck, glistening eyes filled with wonder, the sweet, innocent sound of deepening breath as they fell asleep. The monster, COVID, was at the door. But in that moment, I had stopped being frightened. Everything seemed so fragile, and yet here in front of me was all that mattered. My babies, safe and warm. The moment evaporated as I walked downstairs to start work again. I grunted at my husband, who was sitting on the couch scrolling on his phone. Not sure when I'll be in bed, I said, trying to make eye contact. I need to get this marketing stuff done before tomorrow. Okay, he grunted. He didn't even raise his head. The one-word answers had become more frequent. Silences filled with individual struggles of desperation, and both of us were finding it really hard to be living amongst the immense stress of losing everything we had built. My eyes filled with tears as I fought the urge to collapse to the floor. No time for this shit, I thought. Easier to just get angry at the husband and keep fighting forward. So I turned on the computer and started running. That's all you can do, right? When a monster is chasing you, you keep running. Running fast from COVID-19, a monster we couldn't even see. Yet we were about to meet another monster worse than COVID. Head on. The run that changed my life. The next morning, it was a stunning cloudless sky. Sun glistening on autumn leaves with a light dew kissing the lawn. As my husband started to leave for work, I stopped him and asked, "What time are you finishing?" He whispered on the move, not making eye contact. "Not sure. I'll be home when I'm done." My blood boiled quickly. "Well, I need to do my work too." Swiftly, he was in the car, trying to avoid the inevitable conflict that was bubbling. "The kids want to see you too," I called back. Sunglasses on, he said nothing. The engine roared into life as the kids ran outside to hold my hands. "Well, what's important right now?" I held back tears. He wound down the window. "Keeping our business afloat," he said flatly. "I'll see you later. Love you." The kids yelled, "Love you, Dad." As the truck roared away on the gravel road, I thought, what is important to me? When nothing is important, everything is important. I bit back tears, the heaviness in my heart once more, and grabbed the backpack from the steps. Let's go and get busy before I fall apart, okay, guys? Who's got the treasure map? They were so excited as the dog jumped on the back of the truck. "I do," the tiniest replied, her chubby fingers tightly clutching the green paper. "Who's got the picnic?" my son yelled. "Check." "Who's got the pens to mark the treasure off?" "All good, Mum, let's go." The dog was on the back and we were in bush bashing mode. We pulled into the car park and within minutes the game was on. The bush was deserted due to the COVID-19 lockdown. We had the entire track to ourselves. Rutted earth, native trees, big overarching pines, and plenty of autumn fairy house mushrooms to squash on our way. Total ecstasy for an ADHD household in the bush. Now, when we play as a family, we play fast, faster, and fastest. And with weeks of bush bashing during lockdown, we were fitness ninjas. Car locked. We immediately started running on the track, crashing through spider webs that had laced themselves across the path in the night. The kids squealed, "Got a mushroom, Mama! Quick, tick it off!" Fantails clicked and whistled in the trees, the lake gently lapping in the distance. Run, run, run. 4 hairy brown legs and 6 human legs as fast as they could. "Moth, Mama, tick it off!" The pace was furious. By the time I'd marked it down, they'd disappeared again. I lost sight of them for a moment and ran harder to try and catch up. "What's the next one?" I screamed as the children ran ahead laughing. "Mum, find a fern!" They disappeared into the distance, followed close by Bruce the dog. Oh, I felt so alive. My breath was deep and fast, and as the sun dappled the green leaves, I felt whole. Happy and connected with my kids at a time when the world was frozen in fear by a virus. I sprinted to try and catch up. With no humans in sight, I still needed the comfort of knowing my babies were not alone. A little bird flitted tree to tree beside me. Maybe I should have listened and slowed down. I caught sight of them as I rounded the bend. Then it happened. From that point on, all I remember was my right foot hitting a rock, and the world felt as though it was in slow motion. You know, the feeling you have in dreams when your feet lift from the earth and you hover above the ground for several minutes. A kaleidoscope of fractured seconds before gravity deals a heavy hand. As surreal as the memory is, in the next moment it shattered into pain as I fell to the ground hard. 3 rocks, one to trip on, one to smash my knee on, and the last crushed into my head. I'd pushed my son over in the fall, and somewhere ahead on the track I could hear him screaming, but my whole body was unable to move. I lay frozen on the soft earth moaning. My right leg seared with hot pain, while underneath my left temple was cold, hard stone. My son was still screaming at the top of his lungs. Pavarotti, my son's nickname for his vocal ability, was in full swing, and my body was like stone. No, no, I moaned repeatedly as pain radiated through every cell in my body. I slowly moved my head to see how far away he was from me. My daughter crouched nearby sobbing. Mama? Mama? I tried to move but couldn't. My leg felt broken. Exhaling, I lay stuck like a monkey doing breaststroke in a mud river. I could feel a thumping pain in my shin and cold rock pressed underneath. My left temple resting on another rock, eyes muddied with tears, the sound of my son sobbing, needing my help. Mama, are you okay? Mama? Mama? The 3-year-old's voice becoming more and more desperate. I have no idea how long I lay there with my children by my side, or any recollection of the next 6 hours of my life. But somehow I got up. A broken memory erased. The only rationale is that a will, stronger than my own, took over. The need to look after my children isolated any damage in my body and would continue to motivate me through the ordeal to come. At least 50 photos in my phone of the adventure I couldn't remember, a video of the nature hunt, and a 20-minute drive home completely erased from my memory. Life was about to change dramatically. Thank you for listening to Growth Happens in the Dirt, my book and story of brain injury that is now available on Amazon globally. I'll see you next week, and keep shining.